Okay, so this is very upsetting. I just watched this, well, I listened to this video on this channel on his Pearson, and around the time in the video where you can see here where the marker is, uh, this person that made this video says that he hopes Ethel Blaze or Blaze is in he hopes he's resting in peace. He isn't resting in peace. He no longer exists. Uh, Ethel Blaze or Blaze, however you say his name, he committed he ended his life because he believed that it would lead to peace. It would lead to him resting in peace, peaceful oblivion or nothingness. And I just recently watched him on the anti-natalist podcast, and he was talking about how the Benatarian, the David Benatar's conception of anti-natalism, and how it would, death or not existing is like this perpetual state of non-existence where it's preferable, it's peaceful and stuff. This very old idea that we existed before our birth. And people will be like, well, we didn't exist. And if you ask them, they'll be like, oh, it was like a black void, it was like a dark void, it was peaceful. And millions upon millions of atheists have this idea of like a dark void or a black void before birth and after death. And this is where we get the concept of resting in peace. And Ethel Blaze was pretty much a healthy person. I watched him on the Antinatalist podcast. He looked pretty healthy, besides his false belief in the Benatarian persuasion, the asymmetry argument. He was of sound mind and all that. There was no, besides his belief in this, there was no good reason for him to end his life. Unless he had like catastrophic depression or something like that, or terminal illness that we're not aware of. But, there might be good reasons to do this sort of thing for, terminal illness patients, or things like that. That's really the only reason I can think of is, so Benatar is a snake oil salesman. He's selling the idea of peaceful oblivion, but he isn't aware that he's selling it. He doesn't know that it's a hidden premise. Just like he says that people aren't aware of how bad life really is. Just like people don't know that, he doesn't know that he actually believes in nothingness. So let me ask you, what happened the last time you didn't exist? What came after the last time you didn't exist? Birth. You were born. A life came after non-existence. Non-existence was followed by a life for every single living organism on Earth. Every single person didn't exist, but then the birth of a sentient body caused the onset of consciousness for that person. And so if death also equals non-existence, then that just, it's the same thing over again. Will people be born after you die? Will there be brains doing consciousness after you don't exist again? So will there be brains doing consciousness after non-existence? Because that's the exact same thing that caused this life, this experience, was the birth of a baby, the birth of a sentient body is what caused this life that's listening to this video right now, where you didn't exist, but then there's a life, you know? It's just the same thing. It's called generic subjective continuity. Okay, maybe that might not be the best thing to call it, but that's the term that's used right now. And it's coined by Tom Clark, a philosopher who is an atheist and a naturalist. He doesn't believe in souls or anything, but he coined that term in his essay, Death, Nothingness, and Subjectivity. I suggest you read it. And watch my other videos on this. This could have been prevented if this person would have understood generic subjective continuity. I'm pretty sure he would have been like, oh, he would have seen that doing such a thing is futile. Because, you know, if any of us did that right now, it would just lead to another life. Literally another life. A physical, materialist, naturalistic, here in the real world, not supernatural, here in reality, there would be another life, just like there was a life after non-existence the last time. It wouldn't be you. It wouldn't be a continuation of the consciousness that's listened to this. It's just a matter of the fact that after this consciousness ends, other brains will be doing consciousness. And so you can't experience your own non-existence. You won't be resting in peace. You'll be gone. But there will be other brains doing consciousness after this one ends. This brain dies. And so this is disgusting. And there's some accountability here on part of all Benatarian persuasion anti-natalists for pushing this idea. And trust me, there are others that are going to do this and who have already done this and we don't know about. And there's people that aren't on the internet or YouTube or Twitter or anything that read his book, and you never know, or they hear about it or they think about this idea and they're like, okay, well, I'm done with this, you know. And they have this idea that there will be peace after, you know, you're going to experience peace after you die. How would you experience peace or a black void or any of that if you no longer exist? In order for there to be peace, peace itself is an experience. So you would have to be there to have that experience, or to see a black void, or to experience the silence. But only experience is experienced. Consciousness is always present for itself. So like if there's only one consciousness in the entire universe, then that is the experience. You're not in some black void because you don't exist. No, if there's only one brain in the entire universe, then that is the experience, because it's the only experience there is. You know, and this is, I saw this coming. You know, I didn't know this particular individual would do this, but I know that this is the result of the Benatarian anti-natalism. This is what it leads to. People believing this, you know, because you can't decide to not be born, but you can, you know, you're like, oh, I'll do this other option because it's the only option there is, you know. If I couldn't have stopped my birth, well, I can at least do this, you know. So it's the inevitable conclusion to, you know, if they're truly persuaded by it and they're like, well, it's worth it, you know. So this is just, and this needs to be spread. You know, a lot of people just ignore me and they dismiss me on Twitter and stuff, and I feel there's a need, I feel an urgency to tell people this, because I see this coming. I see this, you know, this is I keep saying it's the inevitable result. This is what it leads to. This is what, it's just, I don't know. Watch my videos, and share this idea of, what I just told you. Because my life sucks a lot, but I know that it's futile, and I don't even think about that. I try to make the best of it, but I didn't ask to be born, but I wouldn't be in a black void if I wasn't born. It would be, if it wasn't this experience, it'd be some other experience that does exist, that is occurring, that is being done by some other brain. There's only the experiences that there are. It's just, if it isn't one experience, it's another. It's one of the experiences that there is. So it's, anyways, so please share this. Help me spread this idea. If you see people on any social media, tell them, explain this to them, or send them to my channel, Naturalist Ted and Naturalisted, or send them to Tom Clark's essay, Death, Nothingness, and Subjectivity on naturalism.org. Tom is going to be doing an interview with the Beyond Atheism channel soon, and I might also talk to him about this. Anyways, thanks for listening.